2023 is about to be a wrap. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to 2024. When we come back, let's talk about what went down this year, what's going to hopefully happen next year. How was your Christmas? Let us know. We'll be right back.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charlie from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
Your business will make you money if you do well at that business. And ES Advantage in trucking, they do really well at providing those services. So the effect that ES has had on our personal trucking operations, not even talking about what we do on the consulting arena, I've been able to save thousands of dollars a year in fuel because of the relationship with them. I have a new accountant that I work with, trucker CFO, that I learned about from ES Advantage.
They're giving you that 10,000 yard kind of support from behind that creates a way for you to succeed, which is one of the things that we love, because anything you can do to help someone succeed is going to help them succeed. They make money by making sure you make money.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
You know, Jeff, I'm looking at myself in that ES ad. God, I look freaking old, bro. I don't look, man. I don't feel as old as, well, okay, someday I do, but I don't feel like I should be that old. Does that make sense?
Okay.
You're no support.
Hey, you know,
What's up, everybody, Jeff is gonna be,
you know,
whatever
floats your boat, dude. Whatever,
bro.
You know,
I'm no Navy guy. What's wrong with
if
me?
you want to identify as a 22-year-old guy, you go out and do those things, and let me know how that works out.
It never works out. You see me try to be 30-ish, and how does that end? You know, Bear Hunter was first. What the heck is going on? Look, I believe that's a Christmas gift from Craig Hutchinson to Bear Hunter. Jeff's over there dying, coughing his 3 lungs out. Whatever.
What? 3 lungs?
What?
Oh, okay.
Wimpy McPote's all up in here. He's got a fine point he makes there. At least I hit the like button, and I thank you for that, sir, ma'am.
Yeah,
sir.
there you go.
Man with a million excuses, ma'am, sir. See, I'm off. Whatever. I don't even care. It's the last show of the year. Let's offend somebody. Who's gonna be? Probably myself. That's the problem. Jason Caps, are you actually still here, man? Are you here, sir? That's cool if you are. If not, we'll catch you on the replay. Our friend here is mentioning, I believe this is a commentary on inflation.
$30. Where are you getting that for $30, man? I want to know.
I know. I feel like that's a steep discount.
Yeah.
So he makes Jeff and I were talking about this. He said slow season officially starts next week. This week, everyone wants to reduce inventory to reduce tax liability. That normally is a true statement, but the last couple of years that hasn't seemed to have been true. Like last year, we didn't really have that dip like we normally do. I mean, it might have slowed down a little bit, but it wasn't really booming to start with beforehand.
Right. Because normally what happens is there's that spike during the holidays, and then the reason why we feel the dip so badly is because we're going off of a high into a trough,
Right.
right? And right now we're going off of this into maybe a this.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be subjectively that bad.
I feel like it's a flat line either way.
Hey, we were looking at the retail numbers for November, and so normally, for those of you that don't know,
Mm,
retail numbers usually spike 1% or 2
right.
in November. That didn't happen this year, like at all. As a matter of fact, October was up slightly, and November went down like 0.6 or something like that. Was that what
Something
you saw,
crazy.
Charlie?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's like everything is weird these days.
What's up, Matt? Good to see you, buddy. I think you're home. I think that's good. Said he hopes everyone had a Merry Christmas and all that good. I'm like just in the point now where I'm like, Happy Merry whatever, guys. It's so not going
I
back to work
have to
till
go back to
Friday.
work tomorrow, so
Look at that. Same brain right there.
I'm going back to work in the morning. So,
Rosie's been in bed again, man. Just coughing,
oh,
coughing. Yeah.
that's not great.
Apparently, she's recuperating from putting all of her ailments off till I was done healing.
Hmm.
She's good like that. It's pretty gnarly. Hey, there's a conversation. Who was it? Our buddy, Mr. Cheese, was talking about, how is it that people like Craig and Jeff and I and so many other people are here for the show every week, damn near without fail. And we said, that's a terrible sound when you put your mic up like that. Just beep, beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep. Planning. Like Jeff plans his 34 resets around the show so he can be off
Yep.
on Tuesdays pretty much. I set my schedule so I come home Monday nights. It's usually Monday evening or super early Tuesday morning. Either way, it's still Monday night to me, just so I could do the show. I know Craig plans his days around doing what he does so he can be wherever he wants to be at whatever time he wants to be there. I'm assuming most of you do that.
Yeah.
I would think so. I don't know. We can get into that. Let's see. Donna's there. Hey, Donna.
Yeah.
Did I hit the roll right there, Coach's ugly sweater? I think I was pretty close to the time that I normally roll them. Hope I was able to meet your needs, sir. Is Coach's ugly sweater? Can you put a gender on that? I'm just saying.
Why bother?
Right. They them.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting show. Oh,
Coming off of 2 days of family and staying up late and yeah, all that stuff.
Large card next to Coach's ugly sweater has a sticker on it that says I identify as a Prius. There you go. That just says it all. JC Cap said happy birthday. Who'd I miss? Happy birthday to whoever. You know what? This is what I'm gonna do. January 1st, I'm gonna put a post out on like my Facebooks, and I'm gonna say happy birthday to everyone and happy holiday for everyone on every holiday. And that's going to be my one post for all of those things for the entire year. You know how tedious it is to go through and wish everybody a happy birthday on the Facebooks? Like I used to do that religiously, and it's so much work.
It wasn't so bad when it was just like my mom and my sisters.
Right? Just a couple people. And now there's so many. I mean, it's cool, but it's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, I feel your pain. I tried to be in my 20s again playing with the grandkids. Yep. Yeah. Now his body's screaming, "How about this pain level, fat boy?"
Yeah.
I remember that a lot. Jason said he's here in spirit, so that's cool.
Yeah. So I did see kind of an interesting one since we're kind of open forum today.
Yeah.
It was out of Great Britain, and this dude caught a lady using his Tesla charger at his house for her car
What?
on his Ring doorbell system, and he like called her up on the doorbell, and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she's like all confused at first, like, "Oh, you have one of those doorbell things." He's like, "Yeah, why are you using my charger at my
Right?
house?" And she's like, "Well, I'm just my friend is 2 doors down and she doesn't have one." He's like, "But it's mine,
Right? And my
you know,
electric bill.
and my electric bill." And this electric revolution, which you can have whatever opinion you want on it, it's happening. I just got news for you, it's happening. But I don't think people totally grasp that, like, those Tesla charging stations that you see at the mall, what's right on the side of them, Charlie, is a card swiper.
Right?
It ain't free, people.
Dude, I'd be like, oh, I see. I would not have got on the Ring doorbell. I'd have found my ass, poof, getting
Yeah.
fast home, and we'd have been
It's
scrapping, yo.
it's just weird, people are excited about some of this new tech. They just don't even think about the cost involved, right? And I guess that's, we should be thinking about that in our businesses. What's the cost involved in what you're doing? I just sat down with an interview with Addison, the owner operator recruiter here in West Valley, and we were talking about the differences between the different lease programs that Swift has,
Right.
and what's the cost of that? Those different options. Are you guys actually looking at that? When you need a new truck, are you looking at what's the actual cost? I'm just saying.
Right.
There you go. I said something business today.
I like
You
it.
should be proud of me.
From this point on, it's all BS.
Business school. That's
Look,
what
I
that
got my
stands
chair back. I'm not
Oh,
sitting down
nice.
at the bottom of the screen anymore.
Nice.
Dude, so this chair that I'm in, my chair, is all the way down, and you see how much higher I sit. In that chair that I borrowed from Rosie, it was all the way up, and my chin was at the bottom of the screen.
Hmm.
Oh God, I'm so glad to be rid of that
I
chair.
thought you were doing that to mimic your hero.
Oh my God.
Inside jokes.
Right. Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah. Matt said loyalty and planning to attend the shows. I dig it. Thank you, sir. What's with the squealing in the background, Jeff?
What, squealing? I don't hear anything.
See, he never hears it because when Jeff puts his mic up on his boom, he doesn't know that it's going the whole time. That's good. That's good show right there. I'm just saying. We should put that on a loop.
Okay. Smash it.
I'm going through.
My Christmas this year, a ruptured radiator, and now either a blown head gasket or HER cooler. Oh, that's awesome, Randy. So you're Santa Claus for the mechanics this year. That's what you're saying.
Nice, right? Oh Lord.
Hey, so I don't know if you know this, Charlie, but we just watched this last night. Did you know that there's an actual sequel to A Christmas Story?
I did. I didn't know until last night either.
And we watched it last night, and
I watched bits and pieces.
Yeah, it's a
Christine
good
him
one,
all
man.
grown up.
Yeah.
So the part I saw was they were arguing in the bar, and he told him, "You know what? You go down the road to what's its place, right?" And then the next scene was them going out to the whatever the hell that slide was.
Oh yeah, the
And he
ramp.
was climbing up the ladder, and I walked down. I'm like, nope, I can't start watching from right here. This would be terrible.
No, you gotta watch it from the beginning.
By any
But
chance,
yeah,
was that the guy they talked into sticking his tongue to the pole like years before? And that's how he ended up on that ramp somehow because of
actually, it was
dog
the
dare.
guy. It was the kid that talked the other kid into doing it.
Makes sense.
And so the kid that stuck his tongue to the pole, he's like been looking for an opportunity for 40 years to get back at the dude.
Nice. I kind of figured that's what it was, and yeah. Oh,
So yeah, I thought it had been 30 years since the original came out, but my son Joe kindly informed me that it's actually been 40 years since the original Christmas Story came out.
whatever. Let's just call it 15, and we'll just leave it.
Yeah, we'll call it just 15. That sounds good. Yeah. Kids never disappoint with the opportunities to tell you how old you really are.
Right. Smash it. I see what you said now. I get it. That was Bear Hunter saying, "Hey, smash that thumbs up button."
Oh yeah.
Subscribe. All
Still
those
not
things, whatever.
getting the
I catch up eventually.
So Charlie, what happened to fuel prices this week? I know that you paid attention to it. I did not.
They actually went up 2 whole cents. I'll throw the Swift stuff across the bottom of the screen for the Swift folks that are out there. Fuel surcharge is up 0.437, and the West Coast bump is another 11 cents. The fuel prices actually went up. I can share that screen here. Wow, I had it sitting there and everything. So the national average went up to 3.914, up from 3.894. Pad 5, figure this out, went down 0.004 cents. I don't know.
Huh.
The West Coast, not counting California, went up about 1.5 cents. And California actually went down almost 3 cents by themselves. Figure that one out. I don't even understand it because that's not normal. So I don't know. You guys that are out there running and negotiating these fuel surcharges and rates and lanes and all that kind of stuff, I really hope you're paying attention to this stuff because there are some opportunities to be made here. If you're just paying attention, just simple that one big cost of fuel, man. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing yourself a disservice if you're not, I believe. But what do I know? I'm just some knucklehead on here talking. We've only been out here, about 3 minutes apiece, and we're hanging out. Donna said the new movie was amazing, by the way.
Yes.
The newer movie.
It made us cry at least twice.
Oh, nice.
That's a good holiday movie when it makes you sob a little bit, but not too much. So what's the calculation? Did you run the calculation this week on the Swiss fuel surcharge? What fuel mileage do you need to be getting to not be paying anything for fuel?
I did not. I'm gonna do it right now. Watch.
Okay.
Magic.
Do it live on the show.
Ready for the scroll. 3.914. I had to think about how to formulate it real quick. Divided by what's the daggone average? 0.437. Yeah. So you need to be it's gonna be a tough week, bro.
Oh.
8.95 miles per gallon to break even on the national average. I mean, it's doable. It's absolutely doable, and that's going.
That's not the national average, though. If you're using your discount fuel card, you're not paying the national average,
right?
So you do a little better,
right? But just as a way to guide on it, something like that. If you're on that Swift surcharge, you need to be doing 8.95, actually 8.956, and you will break dead even zero on fuel costs with your fuel surcharge. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And hopefully, again, you guys that are out there running and negotiating on your own, hope you're factoring something like that in so that, at the very least, you're breaking even or close to it. Oh, there's that sound again. He just likes putting it on us. I think so. Oh, Lord. Just chewing the mic. It's better than that. Nope. It's the fact that it's up. It's ringing.
When I put it up, it rings.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't hear it.
No, it's terrible. But it's fun because you know what's actually funny about it is I know you can't hear it, and that's what makes it funny because you're just like, what are you guys even talking?
And I think I'm being nice.
Right? Yeah, you're like, well, let me mute my mic so no one can hear anything. Oh my gosh. Yeah, right. CW, California doesn't need that much fuel tax anymore. They're going to get everyone paying that $30 this month. So there you go.
Yeah, we still don't know exactly what all is entailed in that. I know that if you're leased through IEL, they're paying that for us
Right.
and doing the filing and all that. I just don't know because I've also read that you have to do a couple of emission tests a year to stay. I mean, even with my 22, I might just say, you know what? I already don't go to Oregon. I actually said no to an Oregon load today. They got they gave me a load to Tracy, California, which I'm like, okay, I'll do California because their taxes aren't that bad.
Right.
But with this thing now, I don't know, man. Is it worth it to go to California? I mean, they're not paying me anymore, really. I could get a load going down to Salt Lake or not to Salt Lake to Phoenix from Salt Lake and still get that 11-cent bump because Arizona is one of the states that you get that in. So I don't know, man. I don't know that it pencils out. I just don't know.
Randy said, yeah, but how many of us drive all light loads on the flattest surface on earth? Look, man, to get nines, I don't really think. See, I don't really run super light loads though. I mean, really.
Right.
I mean, they're average loads. I mean, they're full freaking trailers, and some are grossed out with that reefer and all that stuff. But like, I ran a beer load from Golden to Georgia, and still averaged almost 9.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I mean, you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes a little effort, a little thought.
Got to figure out where your truck likes to live as far as the speed goes.
Right.
And then just let it live there. I'm still trying to figure it out on the 22, man. Charlie and I have been talking about it, and part of it is because I had an emission system issue right out of the gate.
Right. That didn't help.
So it really skewed my numbers, but I'm struggling to get 8 right now. But, I finally got a load after the big repair, right? And what is it? Oh, yeah, 44,000 pounds of beer going through the Rockies. And,
Right.
So that's not representative either. That's like the other extreme. So I'm going to start my experiment officially here on January 1st, I think.
Randy says his lives on light speed.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff's got a new CB handle, Squealer. That is, Wimpy has spoken, and so it shall be.
That would require me to have a CB.
Whatever, man.
I'm one of those guys, man.
Whatever.
It's a peaceful life.
CW said, what really sucks is anyone can get certified to check and send the info to California, but California has only Cert 2 units, and they are subscription based. You lost me at the end, but whatever. I feel that's part of the design. California's just going to be there to confuse you and do weird things. Makes perfect sense.
What sucks is, and every time somebody mentions how important California is to the economy, I have to go look it up to see if it's still true. And unfortunately, they still produce like 70% of the food that we freaking eat. So,
yeah,
I mean, statistically, you cannot not. California's here to stay because I don't know. It's weird to me though, Charlie, because you look at like the Midwest and the Plain States, and you look at all those fields. We can grow the food there.
Climates.
Yeah, I guess.
Grow seasons. I think Florida could pick up a lot. Just reduce some of the citrus crap.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I feel like
it almost feels to me like California does what it does because it knows it can. You know what I mean? It's like that
it's like the rich kids in high school. They know they could get away with it. So,
Right.
oh,
Randy
it's
said,
frustrating.
now IEL will only do this California thing on our behalf if we are planning to go to California, correct? That's kind of what the message said that I saw.
Yeah, we're gonna find out because I head for California tomorrow. See if I get stopped at the border and ticketed, maybe arrested. I'll be a political prisoner in California because I refuse to do their thing. How's that?
Right. Wimpy said, I'm thinking the brake wear going up and down Vale would be more expensive than the fuel mileage. Fully loaded with beer, you'll be using some brakes. I don't know. That's what I got a Jake for.
Yeah.
That thing's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
if you slow down enough at the top of Vale, I mean, I actually have been playing around with it since it's a new truck, and I've had to use my brakes twice, but that's because I wasn't going slow enough before I hit the downslope.
Right. Right gear. I'm just saying.
Yeah. With 44,000 pounds of Coors out of Golden, coming down Parley's, that was the big one for me. Parley's Pass here in Utah.
Yeah.
It actually held it right at 40 miles an hour. Just held it there with that much weight. So I was pretty happy with that.
Did you use the hill assist Jake combo thing, or did you
I
set your
just set the
cruise?
cruise for 40.
Okay.
I set my cruise to 35 and that held me at 40.
Yeah. If I'm trying to stay around 40, I'll usually set the cruise right around 33-ish, I think. And that'll keep me, gives me a little bit of up and down right around that 40 range.
I'm trying to look at comments here. CW is responding to something.
Mm-mm.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh, he's talking about the emission stuff.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It's a thing, man. And you know how that's going to go. We're not going to know everything until it's, 3 weeks after.
Yeah.
And someone gets a ticket. I mean, but they didn't have the official posting out or anything like that. I mean, that goes along with the line of the new LLC reporting thing. What's it called?
Oh, yeah, the beneficial ownership filing. Boy, that's I don't know if I'll ever actually remember that whole thing. But yeah, I think it's going to be the same thing. We'll have to see how it actually turns out. One thing I know for sure is that it'll change 6 times in the next 3 weeks.
At least.
Because it's government and,
Government.
the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing half the time.
And the middle hand is slapping them both.
Yeah, basically.
Well,
you got the rule makers and you got the people that have to enforce the rules. And the rule makers don't always tell the enforcement people what the actual real deal is.
Right.
It's like, so
Wimpy
there's
was saying,
confusion all around.
Freightliner has a great Jake brake, but everyone jockeying for position. Sometimes you have to pass. I don't, bro.
Pass for what?
Yeah. I don't fight for position. I come in slow most of the time anyhow, unless I done messed up. And that's happened. But I just don't. I don't know, man. Unless we're talking about Atlanta. Okay, I'm an aggro machine in Atlanta for whatever reason. It makes no sense at all because that is totally the place not to be aggro, but it brings it out of me. It's crazy, man. But for the most part, I just like whatever, man. Everybody go do whatever you're doing. I'll slow down even more. I don't even care.
Yeah.
Matt said there's a downhill cruise control setting, Jeff and Charlie. You have a regular cruise control and a downhill cruise control. And I've messed with it. And I just found just using the cruise control and dropping the speed just works, man.
Yeah, mine will go through all 3 stages, by the way, Wimpy.
Yeah, it does. That was the next one I was going to also. It'll increase if it needs it.
And I've noticed that it only stays on stage 1 for maybe a second. And then it figures out, oh no, that was a bad idea. And then downshift and goes to stage 3 right away.
It's like those new drivers when you take them over a hill and they're not quite in the right gear and they pucker up and all of a sudden you're like, bam, bam,
Yep.
You're like, now you got it. Dude, I got to tell you, that's one thing I don't miss is screwing up on a hill with my 13 speed. Because there was a few times in my past. I know people find this hard to believe, but I am fallible. And I know, I know you're going to argue with me, but I am fallible. And there was a couple times where maybe I wasn't paying quite the attention at the top of the hill that I should have been paying attention because I'm just like, whatever.
That's it, Charlie. I'm not listening to us anymore because you're fallible.
Right? I'm rocking out to like Master of Puppets or something. I'm like, oh crap, this is a big hill. And I'm still in like 11th gear. And I'm like, oh, I should totally be in like 6th. Do that mad hard brake. Right? Just mashing on them to slow it down to that point where you're almost getting ready to, you know that it's on the verge of seeing just a little bit of smoke come out just so you can slow down enough to drop that gear and get it and slam the Jake in high, and then you're like, oh. Or worse, you miss the gear and then you do that, oh crap, which one's it gonna fall in? Any gear would be good now.
Right.
Good Lord. Oh Lord, I can't even help it.
Going in neutral to your death.
Right? God, it's like you're not even trying to fight back. I can't go out like that, man. If I ever go out because of my manual transmission one day, you will hear it grinding the whole damn time before I hit anything. I promise you.
Going
To the
out
bitter
fighting.
end. There might have been once or twice where I thought, man, that runaway ramp's not too far ahead.
Yeah.
I'd have felt stupid though. Like, why'd you have to use it? Oh, I missed my gear. I haven't heard about any of these autos like totally missing. I've heard some take a little long time in between shifts sometimes while they're thinking, but nothing
Yeah.
drastic.
I've never heard one grind, that's for sure.
Right? That's like a plus all by itself. I'm just saying. Oh, let's see. Moopy said, you got to keep your momentum going up. Always seeing the beater trucks die on the big hill. See, so here's a funny thing for me, whether I was in Chewy or this truck, I pick a speed and go. Usually hold that, and it's usually much slower than what everyone else around me wants to go, and I just don't care. Because I don't want to shift going up or down.
Right.
I want to be in the gear that I need to be in where I can go from the beginning to the end in that gear, having not had to screw with it. And that's usually what I do, man. You know, if I'm running up a big grade at 25 or 30 miles an hour, 4-ways flashing, just sitting over there. Hey man, you want to speed up and slow down, messing with gears? And that always tickled me too, or annoyed me at the same time, depending on my mood. You know, you get those guys that are flying down the hill and, you know, you're like, man, you're just going, bro. I don't know. It looks sketchy. And they get next to you and they're just going through, you know, all their gears, man, just trying not to lose momentum. And I'm just sitting there at 30 miles an hour the whole damn time. Like on a roller coaster, I can almost hear the click, 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 click as I climb the roller coaster hill.
Right.
And then they don't get past me and they start waving their arms and flipping me off and all this other nonsense. And I'm just like, bro, I never even changed speeds. I just set my cruise and went, man. I don't even know what your deal is.
You could get better fuel mileage doing it the other way, but
yeah, you can. It's just
I think you have to be like with my operation where I'm running the mountains a lot.
Right.
I do play that game probably a little more than you do.
Oh, absolutely. I can promise you would. But it's just I don't know, man. I'm just okay with going a little slower and maintaining that one groove, you know.
Yes, I did like the Star Wars table. I got a PM with a pretty cool Star Wars table.
Oh, nice.
Thing a dude made. I actually saw one. It's those things, Charlie, where they use the resin inside
Yeah,
the
yeah,
frame,
yeah.
and it's kind of cool what they do. There's these guys that do Star Wars tables, they do Star Trek, they do all sorts of stuff.
I have a couple projects I want to do like that. I want to do an entire AR build and
In
seal it
resin
in a
table.
yeah, and seal it in a table. It's an expensive table, but I'm thinking it would be neat.
Okay.
It'd be neat to see like a full broken down, every piece laid out. I don't know why, but it just intrigues me. I want to do this.
Okay. And then when the apocalypse happens, you're gonna be like, man,
I
I could use
I
that extra weapon.
I thought about that, and yeah, you can just forget about getting the resin out of all that crap. Good luck. Maybe you could burn it off. Interesting. Yeah, Wimpy, it would work great if everyone was doing that, but you get these idiots that are doing 3 wide, and I'm doing 25. Hey, man, I'm doing 25 in the right lane. I'm just saying. I'll wave as you go by. I don't know what to tell you, brother.
And if you're talking about any significant grade, like the ones where Charlie's doing 25 miles an hour up this grade, dude, if they're doing 60 miles an hour up that thing, if they really had the horsepower and torque to do that, whatever, dude, you're getting what, 3 miles to the gallon?
Right.
I mean,
True.
whatever. You're not making money.
2.675.
And yeah, we'll fight about that. We'll get the gloves on. We'll fight about that. People that do that, there is a way to use momentum to your advantage, but it's not powering up the hill. It is not. You would need to watch your boost gauge first of all, which most people don't even know exists. And certainly, and I are actually we're gonna talk to Freightliner and see if we can get all of those gauges that we know we have sensors for
Right.
actually in the virtual dash. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be.
Because I used to have in all my other trucks, I had a boost gauge, and I really miss having that boost gauge.
I know it's there. It's in the manual. Just saying.
Yeah, it's just not accessible because
Matt said, I remember going down the grade in Denver and watched a trainer in full panic mode when they weren't in the right gear and screaming down the hill. I've seen a couple of those. And you just see them.
Yeah.
I may have had one or two where I thought about pulling the buttons. Came close. Never actually did it, but I came close. Like to the point where I'm reaching, bro. I'm reaching with that left hand from the passenger seat. Like, you better figure something out quick.
Right.
Oh, man.
CW is Swiss programming. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And the argument that I'm going to make is I'm paying $126,000 for this truck. Give me all my gauges.
Right.
I'm not asking them to do a Pittsburgh Power style tune.
Right.
I just want my gauges.
Yeah. I just like to see the data that's there.
Yep.
Sure doesn't seem like it should be that difficult, but whatever. Craig, what's a boost gauge? He's being facetious. Big words. Watch out.
Oh, my.
So, Jeff, are you as done with 23 as I am at this point?
Dude, this is full disclosure, this is the worst year I've had in business.
Right?
This trumps I'm gonna
I see what you did there.
This trumps Obama. Bad years. See, I just offended 100% of our viewership.
100%.
I got both parties in there. You see how I
well played. Just offend anyone who's political at all.
That's right. No, but seriously, this has been a really bad year for me. And I know it hasn't been for everybody like it was in 09.
Right.
But still, man, it's just,
I think it's for most.
Man, one thing after another in my business. And the lack of mileage, man, has played a big part in some of the decisions that I've made this year.
Right.
If we were still getting that 2,500 to 3,000 miles a week solo, I wouldn't be complaining about anything. But as it is,
Right. I mean, even Craig's talking about, definitely a bad year. Uh,
So yeah, I'm ready to put this one in the books. I'll be talking with Colton about, okay, how bad was it really
right.
once everything's closed out, and figure out where we go from here. Everybody knows that I'm a death before company guy.
Oh, absolutely.
The only reason I would ever go back as a company driver would be if I was going to learn something.
Right.
Like I would absolutely go to work for some guy doing step deck over dimensional to learn that business.
I would go
Free assistance
company
stuff.
if I was going to swap companies, possibly to learn a new system. I actually talked to
Yeah.
Justin about this a couple weeks ago. It wouldn't be the way he would do it, but it is a way I thought about doing it. I was like, like let's say I was going to jump, I don't know, pick a company, Panther or whatever, right? Get a company spot over there just so I could maybe learn the
Feel it out.
ropes. Yeah, feel it out. Make sure it's a good fit for Rosie and I, right?
It would allow you to actually shop around.
Right. And you could do a little bit of company hopping, which I'm not a fan of, but you could if you needed to find the right fit and then say, okay, let's get back into this ownership thing. Because I mean, in theory, I could put Chewy to work, but a lot of these companies wouldn't take Chewy because of the age of the truck. So I mean, that's going to cause limits, and I don't want to be limited just because of the truck. So that's why I would look at possibly doing that, but that's the only reason I think I would do that as well. Um,
Okay. I just had to look to see what Matt and Craig were actually talking about.
oh,
But yeah, I mean, this is one of those times, where there is no sugarcoating this year, Charlie.
right,
We have a few people we know that did exceptionally well, but they're people that I don't know. They have relationships in places that even we don't have them. So they've been able to keep moving. Um, Probably the guys that were doing the best were the guys that were able to stay on surge for most of the year
right.
without having to sign that contract. You know,
Yeah, it would not have been as bad a year for me this year. And here's kind of the crappy part for me is I had the opportunity to stay pretty even business wise, but all this medical
uh,
crap dumped on my head
yep.
or my back or my neck or whatever part of me was ailing this week or next. you know and it's not over yet, unfortunately. I've got some other stuff that I'm working on now, but it's all kind of moving up and forward and getting me better, and it's just stuff I got to do to take care of myself so I don't die tomorrow. That would be helpful.
Yeah, you can't die for at least 2 years. I told you
Right.
that already.
I know. But I mean, it's a thing. I'm really ready for this year to be over, though. I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm not. I feel your guys' pain. Like, Jeff and I take the calls and the messages and things like that, and we're like, look, man, you just got to keep plugging away, and it's hard to do, and we feel like a broken record sometimes, and we're just like, look, just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. And I mean, you wonder, is there a wall? Are we gonna hit the wall? Are we gonna get over a hump? Or are we gonna drop into another hole? And I mean, you got to stay slightly optimistic. Not like woo rainbows and puppy dogs, but I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, how many times have you seen me tell people this year, and this is not like my normal thing to say to people, look, if you're done, you're done. I get it. That's how tough the year's been.
Right.
But, have a plan. What are you going to do next? If you're done for now, let's talk about when you're coming back, when you're
Right.
getting back in the game.
Yeah. And we've had a couple of those conversations.
Because being in business for yourself is a much better way. It's a much better path to prosperity than being an employee.
Right.
I mean, it just is. So with that in mind, there are times when really successful people, they'll take a step back because of some things in the economy or whatever happens, but they always have a plan for getting back in the game.
Right.
Always. They'll take a step back, maybe lick their wounds. They'll do some journaling and figure out what they learned so they could be better next time.
No, it's legit. And even Matt was saying he's ready for this year to be done, but yet he's nervous about next year. And I think everybody is. I think you have to be cautiously, optimistically nervous. That was kind of a mashup.
We keep saying it can't get any worse. It can't get any worse. And
I'm
then
done
month
saying
over
that.
month, it just seems like that's not true.
Right.
I didn't mean to-
Bear Hunter said he's done okay actually overall. So and he found a good daily dedicated account that he gets to drop into, and it's working. So good for him. Good for people like him that are in that situation. Hey now,
Yeah.
what are you doing, Jeff?
Thing.
Whoa. Family show, sir. Family show.
Yeah, my blood sugar's been a little high the last couple of days, so I've been checking it every hour.
Ooh. Matt said, finding that will to keep on sticking it out. How dedicated are you to your business? I think that's absolutely the truth. It ain't for everybody right now, especially not right now. And that's just real, yo. That you've got to really want to do this right now. CW, I see your comment. I appreciate your comment. I'm not going to comment on it. We've already offended everybody with politics.
I actually, CW, I wish it was that easy. I really do.
Mr. Cheese asked how does the depreciating work on a lease? We actually talked about that on our show just a couple weeks ago.
The short answer is it doesn't.
Right.
Because you don't own the asset. The leasing company does.
While it's a lease, it's an expense.
Right. So we are able to deduct the total expense of the lease. So my payment is $595 a week. So I get to deduct that $595 a week. My cost basis for depreciation comes after I paid the truck off with my balloon payment is $66,000. So my cost basis for depreciating the truck over the 4 years is that $66,000 cash that I put into it at the end. And actually it pencils out to be about the same as if I just depreciated the whole value of the truck.
Right.
Because I'm getting the deductions from the lease payments of $595 for just over 2 years. And then I drop my 66 to own the truck outright. And I'm going to depreciate that 66. So in the end, because of the tax thing, it's actually kind of interesting, Charlie. And this is where we get in trouble with civilians, as it were.
Right.
Because in the end, we literally get our trucks for free because of depreciation and tax deductions.
Right.
From a personal standpoint, I personally am not paying for this truck. Mortco Transportation is.
Right.
And so it's interesting. I just had an interesting. I always put it that way because I try to be nice, Charlie. An interesting conversation with some people on the Facebooks recently about tax deductions and things like that. And it kind of filtered over into YouTube's on some of the comments there. Someone had commented that tax evasion is fun. And I commented back to him, no, tax evasion is a federal crime.
Right.
However, we all have the same tax code. No matter who you are, you fall under the same tax code. The difference between those of us that own businesses, so we have all of these, nothing we do is a loophole, guys. Nothing Ray Dalio does is a loophole, even though he's worth billions of dollars, not millions, even billions of dollars. None of that is a loophole. It's just that it's worth it to us to pay someone like Trucker CFO to do our taxes because he knows the law. He knows what's deductible and what's not.
Right.
Now you get to the level of the billionaires in this world, and they hire armies of accountants and attorneys because it's worth it to them to pay that money out to make sure, not that they're getting away with anything, but that they are paying what they owe and no more.
Right.
That's all anybody's doing. Now you do have the bad actors. Okay, I can't. Obviously, those people do exist. None of them are people that I know. All we're trying to do is pay what we owe, and that's it. Period. I've got my issues about taxes, but that's another conversation. But seeing as it is what it is, yeah. Who doesn't have a 4-year lease?
You.
Me? Yeah, mine's just over 2 years. So did we figure out what mine is? I mean, I could look it up, but it's like 126 by the time I'm done. That's what I think it was.
And CW said, but how much is the truck worth at the end of the lease? 40, 50K. And it depends on the market, depends on the truck, depends what you've been doing. I mean, 2 years ago, you could have got to the end of the lease, paid out that $60,000 bonus or balloon, bonus for them, balloon, and sold it for double that the same day. Like, no joke. Today, probably not.
Right.
Who knows what tomorrow's going to do? That market is crazy. So,
and honestly, CW, I don't care.
Right.
And let me tell you why. Because I'm going to depreciate that other $66,000 over the course of 2 to 4 years, depending on what's advantageous for me to do at the time. So again, tax-wise, I didn't pay for that truck anyway. The business did. And after having no payments at all for 2 years, I can tell you that by the time I pay this truck off, I get back into that situation where I don't have any payments again. Dude, it's night and day.
The only bummer with depreciation is when and if you sell that asset later.
Right. You have to pay the difference.
Yeah, that capital gains on it is a thing.
Yeah.
But it could be painful for some, trust me.
Well, I guess there's a difference if you're selling the truck because you need the money,
right?
Or if you're selling your truck because you just don't need it anymore. That's
right.
A different thing entirely. Because if I was to sell the 16, could I use the money? Sure. I got some bills that I need to pay, but for the most part, it would just be because I don't feel like fixing it.
Right.
So I could probably sell it for somewhere around 15 grand as is. And I would have to pay capital gains on that 15 grand because I already depreciated the entire truck.
Right.
So napkin math, I would come out with 10 grand in my pocket.
Right.
So, you do have to think about that when you do something.
Mr. Cheese asked what matters when you actually get the title. And again, I don't think it matters.
Yeah. I mean, what tell me, Cheese, why does that matter to you? Why does that matter? Did you not do your maintenance on it? Is that why? Because I'll argue that, Charlie.
Right.
The maintenance and the so either way, either way you do it, whether you stay on leasing, and Charlie and I had this debate a year ago.
Right.
And we ended up having Colton come in to moderate for us because we were getting heated. But either way you slice it, they're both legitimate ways of running your business. I do think that if you are going to be driving the truck or having that asset in service for more than 5 years, it's best to just buy the thing out. If you're one of these guys who was it that we were talking to? He was like, I'm retiring next year anyway. So, so why buy it out?
Right.
That's legitimate. Why buy it out? Because you're not going to recapture that.
Well, expense. Mike Ford was that way, and why can't I pull his name up? Because he did retire too. Dang it! My bad. Oh, it'll come to me later. But yeah, they both had that view. They're like, why am I going to pay it off? I'm just out anyhow. And Mike Ford did in fact retire just before the end of the year. Good for him. And yeah, I mean, and so Mr. G says, and what if you don't sell it and just run it in the ground? Well, bonus, because I say that's the way you should do it anyhow, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, drive it till the wheels fall off, yo. Try to maintain it as long as you can. Keep it running safe till it's no longer a viable piece of equipment and turn it into a happy little pleasure cruiser. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the cost a mile to operate the truck? I mean, again, depends, right? With proper maintenance, I mean, a lot of these trucks are looking at getting, $1.5 million, easy million and a half, 2 million miles before the motor's just useless. If you maintain all the other stuff, I don't think the cost per mile is all that great, honestly. I mean, I was doing fairly well with Chewy. You're running, the freight that we get from Swift and still netting well over $1 a mile.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like, oh, BS, you weren't doing. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, we were actually in competition on who could get the best profit per mile there for a while.
And Jeff was winning that, I believe.
It was like a thing every week. I was like, all right, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, that's what turned me around on my speed again, because I slowly slipped back up into speed, and you know how it goes. You just slowly start gradually getting faster and faster. You're like, oh, let's just get down the road, and then yeah.
So Cheese, I'm gonna call you out a little bit here, and it's all in good fun or whatever. Why are people why are you only looking at half the balance sheet? Running freight $1.25 versus $2.50. Well, so what? What if I've got an operating cost of 50 cents and you've got an operating cost of $2 and I'm running $1.25 freight? Who's making more money?
Right. I know the answer. Jeff would be with that math.
Yeah. I mean, time and time again, I talk to these guys out there with their own authorities, trying to make a living out there, negotiating with brokers, and they've got to have that $2 freight minimum, right? That seems to be the thing these days. It's got to be $2. And I ask them, why is that? Well, my insurance costs this, my truck payment costs that, this costs this, that costs that. Their overhead is literally $2 a mile. Mine is not.
Right.
And so I get it. I get why they need that. They think that, oh, you guys hauling cheap freight. Well, it's not cheap to me because I've got my costs under control. And that is the other half of the game, right? Everybody, oh, you go to whatever carrier and they're paying $2.50 a mile, or you go to that broker and they've got $4 freight. Okay, well, what's your insurance exposure on that? How much is that costing you? What how much did your trailer cost you? What's your aggregated over its lifetime cost per mile?
Jason Cat saved me. Ken Kelly. Thank you.
Oh, right. Yeah, there is so much more to it than the revenue side. And because we at Swift have a mileage contract, we cannot mess with the revenue side at all. We've just learned how to control that cost side. That we've gotten really good at let's keep the maintenance costs down by maybe wrenching on our own trucks when we can.
Right.
Let's get fuel. That. Yeah, let's shop for fuel instead of just willy-nilly filling up at the Petro because you like that iron skillet.
Hey, Cheese. So you know what? There is absolutely a reason. He said there's a reason all the companies buy new trucks and sell them at 400,000 miles. I can tell you it's to reduce the upfront maintenance costs. They can skimp on the general maintenance from day one.
Yep.
Make that truck run just good enough to get to the 400,000 mile mark where they can put it out on the resale market and dump it before they have any real problems. That's why they do that. It lowers their overall cost up front because they have so many people doing so many different things and other people just not taking care of their truck. We're not that, though. We as individuals running, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 truck companies have drivers and have maintenance programs that do away with the need to sell your truck at 400,000 miles. Do people want new trucks? Sure. Do they want to make more money? Absolutely. I can make you more money with an older truck than I can with a new truck.
Mhm.
If we're splitting the costs on, if I'm paying you a percentage of what the truck nets, right? And if I
Yep.
pay you a percentage of what the truck nets, you're going to be more inclined and more motivated to make sure that truck keeps running well. You're going to check tire pressures. You're going to be shopping fuel prices. You're going to be driving slower, trying to increase your miles per gallon when it makes sense. And if need be, you're going to be driving faster on certain loads if it makes sense. But what you're talking about when you're trying to compare a big carrier, even a medium-sized carrier, over 100 trucks. And I think a large carrier is considered over 100 trucks these days. I'm not talking about just the megas here, but you look at those operations and they're completely different than what the folks that we focus on here. I've told this story before in the past. I had a huge discussion. Flatbed driver running his own numbers, owned his own trailer, everything else, wouldn't pull nothing for less than 2 or 250 a mile. And when he and I sat down running my numbers at Swift versus his numbers, his real world numbers, while we were sitting around a pool drinking beer, he came out on top 25 cents a mile net.
Which
25
is a
cents a
good
mile.
amount of mile,
Yeah.
but
But it ain't
that's a
that
good amount of
dollar
money, but it's
50,
not it's not it's not retire early money.
right?
Yeah, but it's not 15 cents a mile for that 400,000 miles. What about the maintenance on that truck?
I think you're looking at it too simplistically, Cheese, and you're comparing apples and
So
apricots.
let me put it to you this way, Cheese. If you want to drive a brand new truck, go buy a brand new truck. I'm not going to tell you not
Absolutely.
to. But if you want to make money over the long term, over a million miles plus, then let's talk about owning the truck outright.
I ran my Freightliner to 1.7, 1.8 million miles.
Mhm. I mean, this whole buying a new truck every 4 years is relatively new to the industry. You talk to my uncle that drove up until about 1983 or 1984 when he got shot. That's another story. Out on the road, nobody bought new trucks unless they were a big fleet or something.
Mm-hmm.
This was right after deregulation, and guys were whatever truck they could get, and they go run it.
Yep, rent
And
on it themselves when they could, and
yeah, I just think that to base your decisions based on what a mega carrier like Swift does is foolish. We are not Swift.
or even a carrier that's 100 trucks or 50
Right.
trucks. I mean, you're talking about completely different models.
Right. I could tell you that your $150,000 dollar price point on a truck at a mega carrier, I bet it's closer to 135 because of volume discounts at a mega carrier.
Right.
Now your 100 truck fleet's not going to get that kind of deal. But when you're buying, 5 to 8,000 trucks a year from Freightliner, I bet you get them for better than 150 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
And Coach Douglas Sweater said, the debt problems are why they sell them.
Well, if they maintain the system, they wouldn't have to.
Right, but if they don't maintain the system and they do just enough to get it by to get to that 400,000, they get rid of the problem before they have the problem. Could they eliminate the problem beforehand by spending a little more on maintenance up front? Absolutely. I believe they could in most cases.
Yeah. I mean, at a company like Swift, especially, I mean, why don't they just buy you into the DPF Alternatives franchise and put it at every freaking terminal?
Right. You would think
Problem
that's
solved.
huge savings, right?
Oh, you got an issue with your DPF. Well, give us a day and a half and we'll just clean it and put it back on.
But then we don't look at the backside of that. Then they have staffing issues, training, equipment costs.
I guess. I could tell you it's about
Right.
$100,000 to buy a franchise from them, depending on what region you're in.
Right. But then they got to train a guy and pay his salary and his benefits, offset the cost of the space that the guy uses. And you know what I mean? We don't look at those things typically.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are costs associated to doing all those things. I mean, sure, we can look at it from the quick 10,000 view look, right? And say, oh, well, this would make sense, much like Senor Cheese is talking about. But until you start dipping into it and really breaking it down, yeah, I believe that you could look at it the way, Cheese looks at it, right? And there's nothing wrong with the view, but it's a completely different business model from what we're talking about, on a 1, 2, 3, 10 truck operation.
Yeah.
Those guys aren't buying new trucks every year or every couple of years. They typically aren't, unless they're running, something that's super, super custom critical, like FedEx type stuff, right? Those
Right.
guys are turning trucks over like freaking pancakes. But it makes sense. And they have the revenue base to do that, and it's all built into the model to facilitate that. On a typical OTR 1, 2, 3, 10 truck operation, you don't typically have that. Even guys running their own numbers, the reason they won't pull freight for less than $2 is, like Jeff said, their overhead is insane. And they feel like they've got to drive 80 miles an hour. So they're actually increasing their overhead running a lot of those loads because they're wearing tires out, they're wearing their motors out, they're using more fuel. I mean, all these things come into play. And then they, and I'm not cracking on anybody. I mean, look, just don't cry to me about it when it happens. But,
Right.
you're super stretched out, long nosed Pete with the reefer and the mid roof and the 15-foot gap between the cab and the reefer unit. Those things are costing you dearly, right? And you need that $4 a mile freight to make what we're making, doing what we
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Bottom line, the thing that matters is that the bottom line. I don't care what the gross revenue is. People get so hung up on this gross and how much are they paying you to run that freight per mile? And I'm asking, how much are you keeping per mile?
Right.
That's the question. That's the answer.
Yeah. Once you get really into this, and Charlie and I have started looking at things this way. So Charlie, remember the first time I told you that I made $100 profit that week?
Right?
But what did I mean by that?
Exactly. And I'm like, well, Jeff, that didn't sound real great. I knew what he's talking about, but it didn't sound real great when you looked at it at face value.
Right. That $100 was business profit. That was after I paid my payroll. This is right after I'd formed my S corp, by the way. And I started looking at things differently, whether or not the S corp was profitable.
Right.
And that means after I paid myself on a W-2, after all expenses for the business were paid, including that, and I still came out $100 ahead, I was happy as gangbusters.
Right.
Because that's the next game, guy. The next level to the game, guys. We're all talking about gross revenue, and you only. It's not what you make; it's what you keep. All that stuff. Yeah, okay. Now let's level up. Is your business profitable?
Right.
Are you an S corp? Are you running payroll? And after payroll taxes, which by the way it's a family show, Charlie. So I got to calm down on that one.
Right.
But by the time you pay your payroll taxes and all that stuff, it's kind of it's a pain. And to come out ahead after all of that, that's an accomplishment, guys. And I wish more people would see it that way. That your corporation is actually profitable.
Right.
After you paid yourself and everything.
So Wimpy said, I wish I could see numbers of lease operators. How many total, how many stay profitable, and how many fail? We can kind of touch on a little bit of that right here, I believe, based on things that Jeff and I have seen over the years and speaking to people through relationships and things like that. And what we see is there's a great deal of, hang on one second, there's a great deal of people who fail. That's just what it is. I mean, there's no denying that. The percentages can, bounce between 60 and 80%, depending on who you talk to. 90%, some people say, failure rate. But you look at the average brand new business, and it's somewhere around 70-80% failure rate of those, and that's at the end of the first year. Of those, within 5 years, another 50% fail.
Right.
And of those, another 25 or something like that fail before 10 years. So, I mean, you can look at those numbers and wonder what they are, or you can just get out there and start researching that stuff. And we've seen it. People who follow certain things tend to do better. People who people who are looking at the numbers from the wrong angle are destined to fail. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean, it really just comes down to, I guess, a desire to play the game, and by that, what I mean is, it's a good question, Wimpy. Absolutely. I'll put it back up there. Number of lease operators, how many total, how many stay profitable? I could tell you that with the people that we are looking at, which is primarily Switch right now, they sit at around 1,500 lease contracts right now. And of those, and all of this is public record. You could just go look it up, by the way.
Sorry about that.
Swift as a whole company has about an 80% turnover rate, which is a lot better than it used to be, by the way. I remember, Charlie, when we first started at Swift, it was like 110%
Right.
turnover. Literally, like I did not understand that the first time they told me that. But
yeah, like
anyway.
how can you turn over more than 100%? That's everybody.
Right. And within the owner operator division, it's pretty much that same 65 to 80%. It just kind of depends on the month on that one. And what we've seen is that people actually bother, I guess. I don't want to be mean, Charlie, but if you actually bother to go get educated,
right. No, but
learn
that's
about the business, that too many people, one of our catchphrases at Contractors Corner is stop paying for a job and start owning your business.
right.
And that's a legitimate thing, man. People are paying for a job. People, they want a red truck. And the only way they can get a red truck is to go into a lease purchase program. So that's what they do. You're paying for a job.
Right.
Now, what we would like to see you do is get beyond that. Okay, now you've got your red truck. And I hope you figured out by now that it comes with more responsibilities.
Right.
You're responsible for a lot more now. So let's figure out how to move you from, okay, you've got your red truck, to you own that red truck. You own that business. Not that you have the title or anything, because that takes a while, but you take actual ownership, man. And Matt Nissen, that part of that is doing your due diligence. Know what things cost. I mean, and be real with yourself, man. Charlie and I talk to people all the time where we're like, hey, here's the deal. Here's how we make our money. Can you look me in the eye and tell me you're willing to go through all that?
Right.
And a lot of times the answer is no.
Right.
I mean, there's absolutely, you will never hear us make fun of company drivers.
So
not beyond the whole driver
right.
or anything. But there's nothing wrong with that. We just,
and the answer should be no for more, to be honest.
Yeah, it should be.
But they're not being honest with themselves. I mean, let's keep that out there, because there are a lot of people who still make the transition. Well, they make the jump, never actually make the real transition.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 months, 3 months, 12 months down the road, they're so pissed off, and whatever company they leased onto or got their truck from screwed them over.
Yeah.
But they never did anything. Yeah, they didn't read the contract. I mean, of all basic things, that they didn't do anything to improve the business. They didn't realize it was going to be more work getting into this game. And Wimpy, like you said, if you were young with no assets, it would be worth the risk. But I have a house, I can't lose this close to retirement. And that's a valid, absolutely valid concern, and a well thought out statement, if you ask me, for you in your situation. Right.
Mm-hmm.
People who are a little more risk tolerant versus risk averse, may look at that differently. I mean, I know a guy that's coming on right now, Chris Hamilton. I'm not afraid to bust him out. He has really gone in and done a ton of research about this. He's been a company guy his entire trucking career. I believe it's 10 or 20 years he's been trucking, and he's just now making the jump into a lease. And he decided to do it through Swift Transportation and their program. And he just, he's looking at it. He's weighing the risk and versus the reward. He's got time frames in his mind as far as what he's working for and working towards. And he is seeking as much knowledge as he can. And he'll be, starting here. He's just looking for they're looking for a truck for him right now. And then that's the only thing stopping him. And, and I even told him, I'm like, look, man, okay, you've done all this stuff. You put yourself in a pretty good situation knowledge wise and surrounding yourself with people who know things that can help you do better from the start and reduce some of that risk. But there will always be risk, and it's going to be hard. And he's like, man, I know it. And he's excited. He's absolutely excited with the prospect of what it is,
Mm-hmm. So, Wimpy, how many pages is that contract? In Word format, it is 36 pages. That's the ICOA, which is the Independent Contractors Operating Agreement.
And then you have an equipment contract.
Right.
If you don't own your own vehicle.
Right. So the ICOA, that's where our compensation and all that stuff comes from, is 36 pages in a Word document. So not too bad, but it is all legalese, right? Charlie and I kind of get on it a little bit sometimes reading through it. And we're like, wait, does this mean what we think it means? And we talk about it.
Then we got to find smart people.
Yeah.
What's that word mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, it just all comes down to, I mean, what is your risk profile? And what are you looking to get out of it? I think that those are valid questions, and I mean, absolute questions. You have to have those questions, and then what are you willing to do to learn some of those things and that sort of thing? I don't know. Wimpy, you make me sad sometimes, bro. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, that comment, I don't get that, man. Wasting my life working, it wasn't worth it. Now, you have assets, and I know you have some pretty good ones, by the way. I'm not going to out you on what your investments are, but he's done really well for himself. He's planning on retiring right at 60. I just turned 50, and I don't know anybody that's set to retire at 60 years old, dude, except for like you. So I'm not sure where you're coming, that you wasted your life.
You said you're going to have all of your assets paid off in full.
Yeah, I mean that's an incredible accomplishment. Maybe you sacrificed more than you wanted to, and that part I would get, and I'm not going to get into all that, but you could look back and see it as, maybe you feel it cost you too much over that 50 years,
right?
But people like Charlie and I look at that as you're a success story,
right?
Because look at you, man. That's the way we see it.
I know people working well into their 70s and have no hope of retirement.
Yeah.
And been working the entire time since they were 10 years old.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. I've literally been working since I got my first paper route, and then doubled up and got two separate paper routes when I was 8 years old because I liked money.
Yeah.
Kenneth Bear Hayslip, finally got my drives put on. Went with the Bridgestones. I'm guessing that's 713. $3,600 minus trade-in for the old one. Should be a pretty good price in the end. I agree.
Yeah, my Michelins were 4,040 after all the trade-ins and everything.
So, and you got a slightly better rolling resistance than the Michelin with that tire.
So we're looking at probably after casing credits, Probably a good $700-800 less than I paid for the Michelin's.
Right.
So now the only thing is the cost of ownership. How long are they going to last?
Hey, Kenneth, any chance you have the RO that you can look at and have a price without the trade-in? Just out of curiosity, because everybody's going to have a different trade-in value on their tire, the casings, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I thought you said that was minus trade-in. He doesn't have a final price yet.
Oh, okay, cool. My bad. I'm stupid.
And I got a hell of a trade-in on mine because I had those XDN2s.
Right.
And they still had like 830 seconds on them when I finally gave them up after 2.5 years.
Right.
It just wouldn't die, Charlie.
I know it, man. They're like that. They are like that for sure. Look, they're not a bad tire. They're just not a fuel efficient tire. That's all.
Well, they have a use, and that use is off-road. If I was like Tony Dennis doing the stuff he does with the farming,
Right.
they're great for that. He would not be able to use 713s because he would go
Right.
through the fields.
He was amazed by the mileage we get out of our tires. He's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like he's buying new tires every year, so
He's totally different operation though.
right. So yeah, it's a trip, man. I mean, I think the point of a lot of what we're saying on today's show is perspective and looking at things with the right view. I mean, yeah, it's not for everybody. You will never say that everyone should do this or everyone can do this. I don't think everyone can do this.
Right.
I mean, it takes special people, and I'm not trying to be silly or anything like that. You really have to want to do this, and there are many sacrifices, but the sacrifices you make today are hopefully getting you to a place tomorrow where those sacrifices are worth it.
And that's the thing, back to Wimpy a little bit and his wasting his life wasn't worth it stuff. That's one of the things I look at, Charlie. If I'm going to sacrifice something, for us, a lot of it is time, right?
Right.
Time out on the road versus time with the family.
Right.
It better be moving the needle forward.
Right.
And sometimes it's barely noticeable, but the needle's got to go forward in some way if you're going to sacrifice something.
Right.
So that's the way I look at it. I'm always telling people that if I didn't own a truck, I would have like a small retail business or something.
Yeah, I would be in business one way or another.
I'm just that guy. I prefer to be my own boss. So I'm leased to a mega carrier. Am I really my own boss? Absolutely. I just deadheaded myself from Reno to Salt Lake City last week because I wanted to be home for Christmas.
Right.
And they didn't have any freight that would get me home for Christmas from freaking Reno.
And I promise you, there was people out there talking about, I missed Christmas because my carrier didn't get me home on time. And I'm not just talking company guys.
Yeah.
I'm talking guys that even own their truck, whether it's paid for or leased or whatever, that, guys that are contractors, owner operators, things like that, talking about they missed Christmas because their carrier didn't get them a load. Never have I ever missed anything that I wanted to be home for. Ever.
Dude, and I know that this is going to cause controversy for a few people, but Dennis Lewis was home for Christmas, man. I mean, come on.
Right.
Dennis is a friend of mine, at least, but he's kind of that king of he's kind of an Eeyore. He really is. Oh, things aren't going well. I'm going to do this. But you know what? He made it home for Christmas. He was like, no, I'm going home. And he did.
He did say it sucked and blah, 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 but whatever.
Yeah, but that's Dennis.
Thanks.
But my point is to shame some of you guys into just taking control of your own freaking lives. If you're an owner operator, especially, I know it's a little tougher as a company driver. Some of you actually work for carriers, and Swift is not one of these. and we could talk about it if you've experienced something different. There are some carriers that are forced dispatched.
Right.
Like if you don't take that load, well, here's your bus ticket home.
Contractor
You're
or
done.
not.
Yeah, contractor or not. Swift is not one of those companies. So, we're always talking about the lines of communication with your OOC, your driver leader, or dispatcher, whatever you call them in your carrier. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know what you're up to. I did not actually pull the trigger on coming home, deadheading myself home for like 10 hours after I dropped the load that I had
Right.
been on previously. I gave them every chance, making phone calls. Do you have anything that just picks
Right.
up in Reno and even goes through Salt Lake? I can call it.
Right.
You got anything, which is weird at Christmas time. Again, this was really weird because normally you got FedEx and Amazon
Going crazy.
going crazy on that lane. Not this year, at least not for Swift. So, at the end, I'm just like, well, that sucks. I've got a payment again, so it really sucks. But what's important to me? Well, what was important to me was I had a family event on Saturday, I had Christmas Eve on Sunday, and Christmas Day on Monday. That's what was important to me.
Right.
So there.
Yeah. So there. Hey, if you guys got any other questions or anything else you want to talk about, by all means, throw it up there in the comments in the chat. If you're watching this on the replay and you got questions, put them down there in the comments, and we will answer those questions typically fairly quick. It's either myself or Jeff or Donna, and all three of us sometimes answering the same question.
Coach Zugler Swear says, just imagine trying to sleep at night with a retail establishment with millions of merchandise just waiting to be sold. Yeah, I don't live in Portland, Oregon anymore.
Right.
Oh, I actually said it.
Oh my God, that would suck. God, I just, yeah. Oh.
Well, and it's not just Portland. I mean, let's be fair. There's a thing happening in major cities around the country where law enforcement does not respond in a timely manner to certain things anymore. And so there is a lot of risk in retail.
Count 911's only minutes away.
That's right.
That's why I call SIG. What?
Yeah.
I don't dial 911. I dial SIG. That's how we do it around here, y'all.
If you know, you know.
That's right. We ain't playing. Don't mess around. F around and find out, yo. See how I did that, Jeff? I cleaned myself up right there real quick. Like
you did.
That's legit. We're allowed to say that.
Okay.
You know, it's weird. So we've got this monetized thing going on with the channel, right? Because you guys finally put us over that magic threshold. And it's a funny thing. Like, if we say certain words.
Yeah, it flags us.
I mean, they're not going to tag us for everyone. But, man, it's just lame. I'm like, whatever. It's fine. So I've been trying to do a little bit better myself, just so, I don't make Donna's head explode, because she's like, look, you need to stop. And I'm like, you're probably right. Probably.
Well, what's weird is that, like, the way the thing works, Charlie, is there are things that are linked together that make what you say sound worse than it actually was, because the way the YouTubes group it with other stuff.
Right.
And we can't even explain it without having to say that this stuff is in our stuff.
God, we should like pull that up one day and just break it down for people, or let them try to break it down, because it is stupid. It is what it is. Whatever, man. Trying to get a couple of them ad dollars, yo. Whatever. It is what it is, and it's fun. It's definitely interesting. It makes me think a whole lot more frequently, which is good and bad. I don't know. She is. Oh wait, I just saw. I didn't realize you put it up. She is definitely right. She said, "I said you were probably right. Probably."
Yeah, but she's saying she's definitely right. That's the whole
right. I probably agree with that. I'm gonna
See
get
what
punched.
we have to deal with every day, people.
I'm gonna get kicked in the junk someday soon. I'm gonna have to avoid Utah for a while. I feel like she'll never forget what I just said right now, though. She's gonna get me because women are like that. I'm just saying. And it's on video. Dang it! Stop it. Oh, this episode
Time
mysteriously
immemorial.
got deleted somehow. God, you, I think about other channels and how many videos they've deleted, and not us, man. Boy, every video we've done is up there, painful or not. Good God. The day of my first surgery, that was amazing when I was like Batman. And then the second surgery, that was terrible. What a train wreck. At least I remember that one. I don't even remember the one coming out of my neck surgery.
Yeah, but we've got it on film for you, so.
Oh, it took me a month to actually watch that whole show, and I was like, oh God, the people that were on visiting with us, bless their hearts. They are champions, man.
Well, it was a double whammy because it was our 1-year anniversary show.
Right?
So it should have been all fun and serious at the same time, but we got the fun part, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It was darn sure fun. I look, I had a great time. Like I said, I don't remember it, but I can tell looking at me on that show, I was having a phenomenal time that day. So
yes,
I mean, there is that. Look, we try to have fun every show. In fact, we try to have fun every day that we do stuff. Some days are tougher than others, man. I can tell you, Jeff and I were absolutely just like, before today's show.
Yeah.
And Jeff and I are both that way. Usually one of us is up, one of us is gonna, you know what I mean, when that happens, and the other one fixes the other one. Today we both came and we were like, whoa.
I want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's just, you know, having a show right after Christmas, like for me, Christmas is a big thing with the family and stuff. And, you know, just tired, man.
I didn't expect
basically 3 days of hanging out with the boys that aren't normally here. You know?
Right.
So I'm trying to get all that in. Of course, they're just sitting around playing video games, but you know.
Right. So we had the whole Christmas thing, and you know, Rosie has been dealing with all of my medical stuff and not taking great care of herself, and it's finally all catching up to her. So she's been like sick, you know, chest cold type stuff for like the last week. And it has absolutely been stomping her into the ground, man. And so, you know, throw that on there, and then, you know, just the everyday stress of life and everything else, man. And all the other crap that I've got going on. And I'm going through a reevaluation with the VA, and I'm having to talk about things with people there that I don't want to talk about. I've managed to avoid talking about these things since 1993. Right?
Are they psychoanalyzing you?
It's gonna start soon.
Oh man.
Look, I had to write a letter today that I'm not ashamed, but I'm kind of bummed that I had to write. And it was describing a lot of things in my life associated to service and things of that nature that took a lot out of me, like legitimately took a lot out of me, mentally, physically, emotionally, right? I mean, it was look, I never served in real combat. I don't want anyone to think that that's what it was. But I've got some issues from some things that went down in my life in military service and things like that. It's weird. I carry tremendous guilt, right? Because I wasn't in certain places at certain times because of other choices I made. It's a weird thing. Like our brains are broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't work right. And then throw in the fact that I hit it so damn hard does not help at all. So I've been avoiding and not dealing with a lot of things for a lot of years that now are coming back to bite me in the buttocks. And now I'm having to deal with them. And today was a big day for a lot of that stuff because I actually had to put into words a lot of these things, and it was not cool, man. So you know what, you guys, I'm gonna, you know, I've gone a little off the rails. Yeah, words are hard. I've gone a little off the rails as far as our trucking stuff, but you know, hell, it's the last show of the year, you know, and the floor is open. So, you know what? Any of you guys who are vets, uh, if you ever need someone to talk to, please reach out. Don't hide it. Don't keep it bottled up. Don't let it live in the dark places that those things live, because I can tell you that with me holding this crap in since the 90s has done some horrible things to my brain, my heart, and my soul. So find someone you can talk with. Don't be ashamed. And it's hard. You know, people of mine and Jeff's era in service tend to put a lot of our things off that truly are service connected, things like that. And we're like, but we didn't serve in combat. But you know what? We would have. I volunteered for several missions while I was that were like legit things, and I couldn't go for whatever reason, mostly because I was broken already. And it's not that you weren't willing to go, it's that you just didn't go. And it doesn't change the fact that you've got things inside of you in your head that need to be addressed. So you know what? Need to be addressed. I said that out loud, didn't I? Need to be addressed. Dang it. Sorry for my stuff here. Don't mean to bring you down or anything like that, but I think it's important. I don't think we look at our former servicemen. And you know what? PTSD as a whole, I don't care. Everybody wants to look at it as a combat vet thing or a veteran thing. There's a lot of reasons people can have PTSD. So, if you're one of those people for other reasons, don't be shamed by it. Don't feel like it makes you less or weak or anything like that. Just get out there and start dealing with it. Do what you need to do. Start taking better care of yourself, and hopefully you got someone kicking you in the ass. Oh, there's one of the words. Dang it, Jeff. Hopefully you got someone kicking you in the backside to get you pointed in the right direction. I think the YouTubes would let that one slide. Just saying.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see in the end. Anyhow, you guys, if you got anything else you want us to throw up there, by all means, throw it up there and we will dump into that. Let me scroll up and see if I missed anything up here. I apologize if I did. Coach's Ugly Sweater said, ever read the book American Economy Without Men? Good read. I don't know that I've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
So that's funny. Coach Ugly Sweater said, imagine an economy where the women totally control spending. No guns, cars, trucks, or other toys, just using makeup. Bro, you hang out with the wrong women. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
Because my wife is into guns and trucks and other toys. She got a lot of shoes. She does have a shoe thing. Makeup, not so much. She's just that's one of the things that I always turned me on about her, was the fact that she was never a makeup girl. I mean, even back when we were 16, it was very kind of modest, and I dug it just because I actually got to see what she looked like before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a thing. Let's see. Exactly, Matt. Find a venting buddy, man. Find someone you can talk to. I've talked to Matt about some stuff. I believe he and I have gone back and forth a couple times on some stuff. And look, I'm telling you, like he said right here, I'm here if you need a vent buddy and a teddy bear hug. That man, look, if you're not a crying type person, if you're in the right mindset and you're talking with that man and he gives you a hug, you're going to bawl like a little kid. And it's going to feel good when you're done. I ain't going to lie. Ain't no shame. Just saying, it's real. Michael Fowler said he served from 82 to 92. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Man, he was getting out just when we were getting in.
No, I was in. I served in 92. Just saying. I got completely broken in 93. Got out in 95.
Oh, that's right. You're older.
You just call me old. Let's see. She says, one day shoes, buy shoes to match an outfit, wear them once. No, so okay, so that's one thing about Rosie. She wears them. She buys a lot and just rotates through them all the time. She got a lot of
Right.
out there on the property kicking tight boots and stuff like that, man. She likes work boots and stuff like that. Oh man, she buys a lot of those. Lots of different ones. She'll try different things. Just saying. Michael Fowler, Fort Bragg, Korea, Panama, Arizona. Well, you could tell I was at Bragg. I'm just saying. How could I not have been, right? I mean, that was my thing. I loved it. Oh, nice. Panama. I actually tried to get stationed in Panama before they closed it and could not get that posting because, once you get to Bragg, you're a Bragg dude, period. Especially in the MP Corps. It's hard to get off. You might leave to Korea or Germany and then you're coming back to Bragg. Had a couple guys that would get a posting down in Panama or something like that, and then they came back to Bragg. It seems that if you are a status individual, particularly in the MP Corps, if you are on jump status and an MP and you are stationed at Bragg, you will always return to Bragg. Just saying. Nice, the old divisionary. Yep. I know what you're talking about. Back there where those buildings were built in World War II and they stank. You know what? I can remember the smell of those buildings to this day. You know what's funny is when you used to go out and pick up Cabela's out at that way out in the middle of nowhere in Sydney, those old buildings out there, the way that they smell, because those are old World War II barracks and stuff like that.
Right.
That's what the old division smelled like. And I would go out there and pick up freight from Cabela's, and it would put me. I'm like, oh, I love that smell. It was weird, man. It was such a horrible thing, but so good at the same time. Oh, love that stuff. But yeah, so we're coming up on our time, guys. So if there's anything you want us to touch on, please by all means throw it out there. Like I said, we've kind of talked about a bunch of things. We got some things coming up this coming year in the new year that we're working on, and we're gonna try and get out there. Jeff and I are working on some podcast stuff and some other stuff and some stuff for the private community that hopefully we're going to get knocked out here fairly soon. We'll let you guys know as we get closer and closer to each of those things. I can tell you that we've got at least 3 episodes of a podcast ready to go.
Yes.
At least, maybe 4. So we have one that's really long.
Right.
Okay.
But we can make it into multiple parts.
Let me ask a question real quick. And if you're watching this on the replay, if you made it this far and you're watching on the replay, give us an answer to this question right here. 2 hours and 30 minutes. How many episodes do you want us to break that down into? Would you like it to be a single episode that you can just stop and start as you go? Or do you think we should break it into 2 episodes or 3 episodes? Should each episode be only so long? Or should they just be as long as they are to talk about what we're talking about in that version of the podcast, that episode of the podcast? Let us know what you think. I would be interested to hear your thoughts on it because I am torn and I'm not quite sure what to do with them, to be honest. Jeff and I have talked back and forth a couple times.
And the podcast is for you guys. So, one of the things we were thinking is since most people will listen to it while they're driving, would you just rather to just push play on a 2-hour podcast and let it run the 2 hours? And
right.
By the time the podcast is done, it's probably time for you to stop in there and use the restroom anyway. And it's a natural breaking point.
Right.
Or would you rather have it in shorter increments? It's kind of because we can see it both ways.
Look, I like the longer the book that I get, the happier I am. It may take me 4 days or 5 days to get through a book. I just hit pause. Next time I get in, I hit play and it, bam, picks up where it was. You know what I mean? So I could also see the benefit of short, I don't know. Fort Liberty. I know, man. I know. Look, I will always call it Bragg. I don't care. When I served, it was Bragg. My daughter asked me yesterday. She's like, wait, does that mean my birth certificate has to change? Because she was born on Fort Bragg in Womack Army Hospital, right? And I'm like, no. You tell anybody I was born on Fort Bragg, and when they say, what is that? You just say, you're dumb. You think about that. Because it will always be Fort Bragg in my head. I don't care about any of the other crap or reasons and none of that stuff. I don't care. I'm sorry.
Did you say they changed the name to Benning too?
Yeah, it's like starts with an M. I bet Jason Cass probably knows. What they changed Benning to? It's like Miller or something like that. I can't remember. It's that one actually is kind of a decent name because of the dude they named it after, and I'm just blank right now, so I apologize, people. You Ranger folks and all that. I apologize. I'm just saying. 10 to 20 minutes, life on 18 wheels. While I appreciate your comment, there's no way Jeff and I can talk about anything in 20 minutes.
Half hour.
That would
At
be the
least.
absolute minimum. Yeah, it's 30
Yeah.
minutes. Hey, look, we when we did the Sirius show, right? We had a half hour there, and when you factored in the breaks that they had to do for commercials and the talk ups and talk outs and all this other crap, I mean, Jeff and I talked for like 5 minutes apiece.
Mm-hmm.
So that's hard, man. But here's the thing, Life on 18 Wheels with a podcast, if they start dropping off, they can literally just hit pause. I'm just saying, and pick it back up when they come in the next time. Because that's what I
Right.
do. I mean, there's a lot of things where, because there's a lot of stuff that I listen to sometimes that is very hard to listen to sometimes because it's boring or I'm not super into it, but I want to hear these things, right? So I'll break it up myself into shorter pieces, like you're saying. I'll break it up into 15 minutes and take a break. Come
Mhm.
back to it. Come back to it with a fresh mind. I don't know. Right. And see, that's kind of my thing here, Wimpy, is he says folks driving won't want to fidget with their phone. That's why I like longer episodes of things.
Right. And Life on 18 Worlds, remember, we're talking about a podcast here, not the show, not video, just the audio podcast. So that's going to be a little bit different than some of the other stuff we do.
I mean, I've listened to
I
talk shows on the radio that were like all day long.
yeah. One of the things that we have noticed is that we have a better reach since we started doing the shorter form videos on YouTube
That's for sure.
because we still have about
Like 87,000 views in the last 28 days. Most
Yeah.
of it driven by shorts.
So, we joke about our tens of viewers. Right now we've got 14 people live, as far from what I can tell.
Right.
And over the course of the next week, though, a lot of people do catch this on the replay. And if you're one of those people, make sure you drop a comment if you got questions about anything that we've been saying. We've been trying really hard to get to your questions. I've been answering questions all week. I know Charlie's been in there as well, and so is Donna on the stuff that she can do. So yeah, absolutely ask your questions so we can get the answers for you. One of the questions this week, Charlie, was what's an LLC?
Right. I saw that and I liked your answer.
And I'm like, well, that is a really basic question that needs an answer.
Right.
Let me think about this a minute. So I answer it in a way that's not, condescending or something, because
Right.
people tend to do that, They'll listen, what do you mean you don't know what an LLC is?
Right.
Well, the dude doesn't know, so he's asking, dude. Relax.
Right.
Just answer the question.
So
And
something to think.
I think that's one of the things that's missing in our industry, and it's where we kind of fill that space is, dude, we'll say it and we'll say it over and over again. I don't care how you got your truck. I don't care where you work. I don't care if you got your own numbers or if you're leased to, heaven forbid me, Prime Inc. Okay. Whatever, dude.
Prime is the way. Prime
Yeah.
is the one. There's no other but Prime.
Yeah. That's the way the recruiters talk to me. And we have fun with them over there.
Sorry,
But,
y'all. I ain't mad.
But we don't care, man. Ask your questions.
Right.
We do like with Prime just now. We'll have a little fun every once in a while, but when it comes down to it, ask your questions, man. Because if you're out there trying to run a business, and let's be real, you're out there trying to run a business and you don't know what an LLC is, we need to get that question answered for you.
Right.
Because that is very important knowledge. How do you, some of the things we talk about, especially when we have Colton on, right? How
Right.
do you structure your business? I mean, A lot of people will do the LLC. Well, what about after that? Well, what
Right.
about after that? What about in 10 years, 5 years, 10 years? What about when you have 20 trucks? What do you do then? Let's get down to all that and get those questions answered so that you don't make the mistakes that will get you in trouble,
Right.
right? With the IRS or other regulatory agencies someday.
DJ, look,
Oh,
that looks wrong when I dangle it. I apologize. I was trying to be silly with the dangling the back there. Look into my eyes, but when I did a cigar, it just looks filthy.
weird.
Oh my God.
You're weird,
You
man.
get DJ. I appreciate the poke there because I thought that was a great comment. I just screwed it up. Whatever. What he had said was, does the recruiter wave back and forth at Goldman Dime when he says, "Look into my eyes, enjoying Prime"?
Yeah.
And I made it weird. I apologize. Right? Look, Wimpy. Exactly. That's.
No.
I'm not gonna say it out loud, but exactly. Good Lord. Oh man, what are you gonna do? But you know what?
My point is ask your questions because, again, we like to have a good time and we're
Right.
dudes. We're guys. Let's face it. And guys, sometimes we say things. But when it comes down to it, we will do our very best to answer your questions in a way that benefits you and your business.
And the whole thing behind the podcast, like, the weekly show, with our tens of viewers on the weekly show when we're live, right? It honestly doesn't bother us that there's so few that are here live. Like we said, we get a lot of background, what's the word I'm looking for? Interaction and engagement, excuse me. After the shows and during the week, and all the shorts that are generated now come from these live shows. It was a weird thing for me because I looked at the live show the other day and I went, man, it only had whatever number of views for the week, right? And I was like, God, is it worth it? When I look at the shorts, we had one short that had like 12 or 18,000 views, right?
And that came from the show.
And it came from the show. It wouldn't have been created without the show. So I justified and fixed my head based on that alone. And so that's cool. But with that being said, the podcast, some of the episodes there will actually be generated by the show here. Some of those episodes will be other things that we wanted to talk about that we didn't get to here, or maybe a deeper discussion of something we touched on here. We said, man, that was a good topic. We really should have talked about that more. That's another platform for us to talk to and not have to be so visual. We get a lot of people that are hung up on the video thing because they're like, well, I'm driving, bro. I can't watch. And we're like, well, we kind of format it as a podcast to start with. Right. Most of what we do is not visual, which is why we, when you guys post a question and we answer that question, you'll notice we read your question when we answer it so that people know what we're answering. I see that on a lot of shows where people will answer a question from the live chat. And if you're not watching the video, you have no context of what they're answering. You're like, what the heck is he even talking about right now? Because I do that a lot. I mean, I can put on a live show from somewhere or, a rerun of it and not watch the video. I just want to hear what they were saying,
Right.
Which is what, podcasts are so good about. I mean, I love radio. I love talk radio. I love hearing people and opinions and things like that. I'd love my own radio station. I've actually toyed with that whole thing. And I thought, man, that is too much work though. Trying to fill 12 or 24 hours a day. Forget about it, man. Ain't nobody got that kind of time to do that.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Unless you guys pay me a bunch of money, which ain't going to happen. Let's be real. It's a lot, but we think that this podcast, I think we're thinking weekly to start with, but it's not going to happen until we've got multiple weeks ready to go and we can start putting them out so that we can come in once a month or twice a month and, record a couple of but we'll record a couple of episodes. And look, I'd like to bring some of you guys in. Some of you guys that, are here on a regular basis in the industry, things like that. There's nothing wrong with getting you guys in there and let's just have a conversation, see where it goes. You know what I mean? There's some good conversations that Jeff and I get into on the phone with people. And I'm like, God, I wish we were recording this because this would be a great podcast.
Yeah.
Just sitting around talking, and the nuggets of information that you find and tips and tricks and ways of doing things. But anyhow, that's some of the stuff we got coming up this year. I want to thank you guys for helping us get through another year here on Contractors Corner. The new podcast will be, should I tell them the name?
Yeah, go ahead.
It will be the Road Warrior Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm working on getting it finalized now. It will be out there in many formats. I think I was looking at just, a little inside. Jeff, I was looking through Buzzsprout today, and I think that might be the way to go. Right now, I can throw 2 hours up for the month and pay a couple bucks, and we can do more than that, which we will absolutely need because of the way that we talk.
Right.
But it puts
Because
it
we
out
can't do
into
just
many
2 hours.
formats, right? But it puts it out into pretty much all of the podcast formats out there. So you could just be able to go to wherever you listen to podcasts, type in Road Warrior Entrepreneurs Podcast, and you will be able to find us here very soon. Brought to you by Contractors Corner Consulting, LLC.
A Utah company.
A Utah company.
It's getting longer, the whole thing.
I know. I'm working on right now the intro and outros for every episode that we'll have recorded and hopefully sounding pretty good. And I've done a little work this week on that. Anyhow, so yeah, let us know what you guys think. How long do you think the episode should be? Things like that. Do the long ones turn you off? The long ones turn you off? Whatever. Let us know what you think. Those of you watching us on the replay, thank you for catching us on the replay. We do appreciate you too. Like always, leave comments and questions below. Let us know what you think, how you think we're doing, what you'd like to see in the future. This year is coming up really fast, and I can't believe how fast 23 went by, even though there was times where it felt like it was dragging, but man, did it skyrocket. Just went by.
Yep.
What else you got?
I got nothing, man.
Oh, the website. CW asked, what is going on with the website? We are working on it right now, buddy. We are going to get things going. And those of you who are members of that private community, don't worry. I don't want you to feel like we failed you. We did fail you. I failed you. And we have something for you to make up for that. Make no mistake. We will make it up to you. And we appreciate you guys. So don't worry. I assure you that if you paid for that year, you're going to be all right.
Yep.
You're going to find the value. I absolutely guarantee that's going to happen without saying the word guarantee, because I can never say guarantee. Guarantee is a bad word in any business.
You get sued for that.
Right. DJ Bolin, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. On that note, you guys, I think we're going to call it a wrap. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week right here at 6 p.m. Eastern time, like we are every Tuesday. Keep your eyes out and your ears open. We're going to be putting out some information here in the near future. We'll let you guys know how to find all these other things we're working on. And once again, thank you all. Look after each other. No one's out here looking after us but us. We will see you here next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Contractors Corner Consulting Group live weekly show. Thank you guys so much for being here and spending your time with us. It means a great deal to us.